Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari 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 Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari 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 Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare
Jaya Radha Krishna Chandra Radha Krishna Chandra Radhe
Jaya Radha Krishna Chandra Radha Krishna Chandra Radhe
Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram
Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram
Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai
Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada
तिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः नमा ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंदा Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, 22nd verse. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya, navani grinnati naroparani, tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani, anyani samyati navani dehi. The meaning of this verse: as a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, similarly, the soul accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. So, Srila Prabhupada explains that change of this body by the individual soul is a fact, an accepted fact. Some of the modern scientists who do not believe in the existence of the soul due to various different reasons, but they cannot explain the source of energy from the heart, they have to accept that continuous change of body is happening from childhood to boyhood, from boyhood to youth, from youth to old age. And from old age, the change is transferred to another body. Tatha dehantara praptihi. At the time of death, the soul leaves one body and enters another body. Now, this how is this explained in this particular verse, the change of body at the time of death? Krishna gives the example, Vasamsi jirnani. Just like you have a dress, you have a shirt. Now, as long as the shirt is in good condition, you use it, you wear it. But supposing it becomes old and worn out, then you have to discard that and take a new shirt. You take a different shirt, a new shirt. Similarly, when this body becomes old and worn out, this body has to be given up. And that's exactly what happens at the time of death. Now, it is explained also that this changing body at death is made possible by the Supersoul guiding this individual soul to go from this body to another body. Another body means it is birth. It is birth, a new body. So, that Supersoul is guiding is explained in the Upanishads. In the Mundaka Upanishad as well as the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, it is explained that the soul and the Supersoul are two individuals sitting inside this body, just like two birds are sitting on a tree. It is explained in the Upanishads that the individual soul, the living being, the person inside this body, is actually the bird who is eating the fruit of the tree, and the other bird, the Supersoul, Paramatma, is Krishna. Krishna is seated as Paramatma in the heart. So, Krishna is the other bird who is the friendly bird who is watching his friend, watching the individual soul. The difference is the individual soul is captivated by the fruit, whereas Krishna is the witnessing bird. not captivated by the fruit. Now, forgetfulness of the relationship between the individual soul and the super soul is the cause of all our problems, is the cause of changing position from one tree to another tree or one body to another body. So that is also explained in the Upanishads. Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, 23rd verse. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, na chainam kledayantyapo, na shoshayati marutaha. The meaning of this verse is, the soul cannot be cut into pieces by any weapon. It cannot be burnt by fire. The soul cannot be moistened by water, nor the soul can be withered by the wind. 4 different things are explained here. The soul cannot be destroyed by any weapon, nor can it be burnt by fire, destroyed by fire. The soul cannot be destroyed by water or by wind. So Srila Prabhupada explains, fire just doesn't mean fire, it means fire weapons also cannot destroy the soul. The soul is indestructible, the soul has no death, that has already been explained earlier. Now here specifically Krishna is explaining the characteristics of the soul. The soul is indestructible by all means, it is indestructible. All means, any means, you cannot destroy the soul. So Srila Prabhupada explains, formerly there were different kinds of weapons. Now what we know as weapon is only fire weapon. Even the nuclear weapons are fire weapons. But formerly there were fire weapons, there were water weapons. That is not known now. Just like in the Kurukshetra battlefield, different expert fighters, they had different types of astras. They could counteract a fire weapon by a water weapon. That is unknown now. Now nobody knows how to counteract a fire weapon by a water weapon. But formerly that was known. Or a wind weapon can be used to actually ward off a particular arrow that is coming, is a arrow that is shot, to deflect that arrow that is coming. One can use the wind weapon, so it will miss its target. So like that, there were wind weapons, there were water weapons, there were fire weapons, there were solid weapons like regular arrows being shot, or sword or mace, whatever. So these kind of different weapons, although they are able to destroy the body or anything material, they can never destroy the soul, the spirit, the spiritual spark or the spiritual substance cannot be destroyed. Now also it is important to understand that the soul cannot be cut to pieces means the soul is a complete entity as an individual. Now some people think, some philosophers argue that each one of us as spirit soul, we have got somehow cut from the Supreme Soul Krishna, Supreme Soul Absolute Truth, Supreme Soul God. God is there and we are also existing, but some philosophers say we got cut off from God and we have to again go and join with God or become one with God or become God. But that is not correct, because here it is said the soul can never be cut into pieces by any means. So we are not cut off from God as a piece separated from a whole. No. We are connected with God in a relationship as an individual. As an individual soul, we have got a relationship with the Supreme Soul. In a relationship, we always exist. That relationship is never lost. But right now, we are forgetful of our relationship with Krishna. That is what is explained in the scriptures. The next verse, second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 24th verse. Achedyoyam adahyoyam akledyo ashoshya evacha nitya sarvagatasthānur achaloyam sanatanaha. The meaning of this verse is, this individual soul is unbreakable, insoluble, can neither be burnt nor dried. This has already been explained in the previous verse. Same thing is repeated. And Krishna is further telling in this verse, the soul is everlasting, all-pervading, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. So this is the meaning of this 24th verse. And Srila Prabhupada explains that all these qualifications of the soul prove that the individual soul is eternally the atomic particle of the spirit, which remains the same, never changes. It's not that now we are cut off from the big chunk of the Supreme Spirit and later on we can become joined and we lose our identity. No. Always we have our individuality. That was told in the 12th verse also. That individuality of every individual soul, every person, and the individuality of the Supreme Lord, eternally true, always exists. So, therefore, the Advaita Vada, it's called Advaita Vada, Advaita philosophy, that each one of us is God, that is completely disproved here in the Bhagavad Gita. Because the soul can never be cut, can never be separated. The soul cannot be joined either. There is no question of the soul joining. Soul is person, individual person. Supreme Soul is the Supreme Person, the unlimited person, God. And neither the soul can be separated nor the soul can be joined. There is no such thing. Materially, yes, if you have one lump of clay and you take another lump of clay of the same substance and then you mix it up nicely and make it one big lump. So that is not the case with the spiritual entity called the soul. No, soul is not like that. Though qualitatively we are spiritual and God is also spiritual, that's true. But there is no question of becoming homogeneously one or splitting, cutting to pieces. No. Now, after liberation, what happens? Is a big question. What happens after liberation? Right now, we are trapped in this material world, in this body, and we have to keep on accepting one body after another. All these bodies have got birth and death. The birth and death doesn't apply to the soul. So when one becomes liberated, there is no more suffering of birth or death or disease or old age or any miseries. That will not be there. But what happens after liberation? So, the Advaita Vada says, according to Advaita Vada, the soul joins and becomes one with the Supreme Soul. That's Advaita Vada. We are not different. We are not different from God. We are one with God. But that is not what is said here, that eternally the same. Never the soul becomes something else after liberation. Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, 25th verse. Avyaktoyam achintyoyam avikaryoyam uchyate tasmad evam viditvainam nanushochitum arhasi. The meaning of this verse is, it is said that the soul is invisible, avyaktoyam achintyoyam, is inconceivable, avikarya, immutable, and unchangeable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. Nanushochitum arhasi. Now the magnitude of the soul is so small, the soul cannot be seen even by the most powerful microscope or most powerful instrument, magnifying instrument. You cannot see. Therefore, the soul is described as invisible. Avyakta, invisible. Now, what about the soul's existence? If somebody wants to prove or wants a proof of the existence of the soul. Now, experimentally, one cannot establish the existence of the soul or find a proof for the existence of the soul by experiment, because there is no possibility of detecting the soul by any material instrument, because the soul is non-material. Very simple. Soul is non-material substance. That's what is throughout the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Elaborately, Krishna is explaining the soul is non-material. All the instruments, all the scientific devices are all dealing with only matter, not dealing with spirit. So, there is proof, according to the Vedas. Shruti is the proof. Shruti means the original Vedic literature. The original Vedic literature existed even before the creation. They are always existing. Just like God is eternal, always existing, always present as God. Similarly, Shruti, the Vedic literature, the Vedic wisdom, the Vedic source of knowledge, is eternally existing. So, beyond the proof of Shruti or Vedic wisdom, there is no other proof for the existence of the soul. Now, it is said that, in the scriptures it is said, that we have to accept this truth based on the Shruti, because there is no other source for understanding the existence of the soul than the Shruti. Now, it is also a fact by perception. So, Srila Prabhupada says, so many things we accept on the grounds of superior authority. Now, one example given in the Shruti is very, very important, that one has to accept the existence of his father based on the authority of the mother. And there is no other source of identifying or understanding one's father except by the authority of the mother. So, just like we accept on the authority of mother, we accept so and so as my father. Similarly, there is no other source of understanding the soul except by studying the Vedas. So, therefore, Vedas or Shruti also called as mother, Veda Mata. And mother will point or direct us to who is the Father. So Shrutis all point to the Father, the ultimate Father, the Supreme Father as the Supreme Lord, Absolute Truth, Personality of Godhead, Krishna. And also the soul is conscious and the soul is also consciousness. Soul is conscious means I am aware, as spirit soul I am aware. And I myself am having consciousness myself. Just like this table is not conscious, but I am having consciousness and I am also conscious. So that is explained in the Vedas and we have to accept it as it is. Now I'll take some questions. If Krishna is suggesting Arjuna to reject Bhishma Deva as Guru, and it is also told in the scriptures that we should follow Mahajanas, Bhishma is one of the Mahajanas, so how can we reconcile these two statements? That Bhishma is a Mahajana and we should follow Mahajanas according to scriptures, yes, one of the ideal authorities, great personalities. And Krishna is suggesting to Arjuna, you reject Bhishma Deva, because Arjuna is telling Bhishma is worshipable superior. How can I kill him in this battle? So here when it is said that Krishna is suggesting to Arjuna to reject Bhishma Deva as Guru, it's in the sense that all attempts before the battle of Kurukshetra were made to avert the battle, to avoid the battle. Every attempt was made. Krishna personally went as the messenger of the Pandavas to the Kauravas. The Pandavas tried in so many ways. When nothing was working, finally Yudhishthira requested Krishna, please, if you can go and convince them. Because the Pandavas reduced their request to just 5 villages. Just 5 villages. That also Duryodhana is not giving. And they are asking for what? Something that belongs to them legitimately. It's a legitimate claim the Pandavas are making for a kingdom, not illegitimate. So therefore, they tried, and when everything failed, war was inevitable. For a Kshatriya, there is no other recourse other than fighting a battle. Duryodhana is challenging Yudhishthira. So he cannot refuse the challenge as a Kshatriya. Besides that, peace negotiations failed. So it's a Dharma Yuddha. On grounds of Dharma only, the fight is happening. So then, when on the grounds of Dharma the fight is happening, whose side should Bhishma take? Bhishma should take the Pandavas' side. But Bhishma is not on Pandavas' side. Therefore, Arjuna has to face this situation where he has to fight against Bhishma. Now, why should Bhishma be on the wrong side? That question has to be raised. Why should Bhishma be on the wrong side? Now, somebody may say, he is Mahajan, how can he make a mistake? Now, actually, Bhishma has not made a mistake. Bhishma is one of the devotees of Krishna. So Bhishma is participating in Krishna Leela. This is a confidential understanding I am telling. Please hear carefully. Bhishma is participating in Krishna Leela. So in Krishna Leela, Bhishma has a relationship with Krishna in the chivalrous mood. That means Krishna likes to fight with his devotees. And when Krishna fights with his devotees, he gets pleasure. And devotees want to do some service to Krishna. If Krishna says, I want to engage in a mock fighting with somebody, who will that be? Somebody be? It will be a devotee only. Krishna will never fight against anybody else. Krishna doesn't have to fight. Why he has to fight? He is the Supreme Lord. So, just for mock fighting, Bhishma will be on the opposite side of the Pandavas in this battle, and Bhishma will shoot arrows in fighting against the Pandavas. Krishna will shield Arjuna and take those arrows himself. because Krishna wants to protect Arjuna. So Bhishma is shooting arrows to Arjuna, and Krishna is shielding Arjuna, and arrows are striking Krishna's body. Now, Krishna is Supreme Lord, so nothing can happen to him. But still, when Bhishma is actually shooting arrows and they are striking Krishna's transcendental form, Krishna is feeling as if those arrows are like flowers being offered by a devotee. That is what Krishna is feeling. Because who is shooting those arrows? It is his own devotee. So, this understanding is the confidential understanding. And finally, we know when Arjuna's life was in danger and Bhishma was attacking very fiercely the Pandavas, and Krishna had to save Arjuna at all costs, then Krishna actually personally took up a wheel of a chariot and went to attack Bhishma in order to save Arjuna. Krishna went to attack Bhishma. Then Bhishma said, "My dear Lord, you are attacking me, though you had made a vow never to take a weapon in this battle. What better death can I have? What more glorious death can I have than at your hands? Please kill me and let me end my life in this most glorious way." So Bhishma surrendered. Because Bhishma surrendered, Krishna did not kill Bhishma. See, these are all pastimes of Krishna with his devotees. That's also going on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So this is a confidential thing. So Bhishma is on the wrong side for a transcendental purpose, for a confidential reason. But Arjuna, in a mood of trying to avoid fighting in the battle, even after they have made all arrangements for fighting, because Arjuna was put into illusion by Krishna so that Bhagavad Gita can be spoken. Otherwise, Arjuna will not refuse to fight in a dharma yuddha as a enlightened person. Arjuna is a enlightened person, but he is put into ignorance by Krishna so that Bhagavad Gita can be spoken. So in this way, it is not that Bhishma is making a mistake or Arjuna is making a mistake. None of them are making a mistake. Next question. Duryodhana gave Arjuna a benediction that whatever he wants he will give, which later Arjuna used for taking 5 arrows from him. Why didn't Arjuna ask before the war to give them 5 villages at least? Now, before the war, the Pandavas requested the Kauravas, including Duryodhana, to give 5 villages, but Duryodhana refused. Now, when Arjuna went to Duryodhana to ask for the 5 arrows, because Krishna knew what is happening, Krishna sent Arjuna to take away the 5 arrows from Duryodhana. That time, Duryodhana, when Arjuna went to meet Duryodhana said, "Welcome, welcome," because the code of conduct for the Kshatriyas was that they are enemies only when they are fighting in the daytime. Evening after sunset, they are like friends. There is no danger. They mix freely. They sit and eat together. They even share some jokes like that. So when Arjuna went to Duryodhana's camp to meet Duryodhana, Duryodhana welcomed him very nicely. He said, "Yes, Arjuna, what is the purpose of your visit? I want to ask you something." "Yes, what do you want? I am ready to give you anything. You want the kingdom without this battle? I am ready to give." Duryodhana was even ready to give the entire kingdom. But Arjuna, he is not going to take the kingdom. No way. It is a disgrace for a Kshatriya to go and beg or simply take by asking. No, Kshatriya will never do it. It's against Kshatriya dharma, Kshatriya code of conduct. So Arjuna said, no, I don't want kingdom. Arjuna said, "I want 5 arrows that you have with you, special 5 arrows. So Duryodhana could understand that those were the arrows which Bhishma had actually prepared specially for killing the 5 Pandavas the next day. So Duryodhana has told Bhishma, "I will keep it safely and I will give you next day." So Bhishma said, "Okay." And Duryodhana was keeping it, Now Arjuna has been sent by Krishna, get those 5 arrows. So Bhishma will not be able to use those arrows the next day. So Duryodhana could understand that, oh, special arrows which Bhishma has prepared, this is what Arjuna is asking. Okay, take it. Duryodhana gave it away. So Arjuna brought that only because Krishna was directing Arjuna. That's the reason Arjuna went and asked. Otherwise Arjuna is not going to ask the arrows and avoid fighting or avoid getting killed. No. Krishna is actually the whole battle is conducted by Krishna. This is what we should understand. The Supreme Lord, He wants dharma, He wants to establish Yudhishthira as the rightfully Yudhishthira should be ruling, not the demons or the demoniac minded Duryodhana and all his Jarasandha and all these demoniac kings. No. So Krishna is accomplishing that by certain way. That's it. So I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.